Hello everyone. Today we will talk about software processing model. So, as the name suggests, we are going to learn about how software developed. So, on which models we are developing softwares. See, we are living in a world where everything is digital and all the digital things work on softwares. So what is software? Software is something which is a set of instructions which perform some operations. So today we will talk about all the models of the software processing. So first model we will learn, that is waterfall model. Okay, as the name suggests, waterfall model, it doesn't mean there is a waterfall. Their name specify a different thing. It is a linear sequential model of SDLC. As like the human beings have a life cycle from birth to the death, the same way SDLC, the software, also have a life cycle, software development life cycle. It was the first model developed for the software development industry. It was developed by Royce and Bohem in 1970, and in this model, as for the development purpose, we have divided different stages, and that stages are perform different operations, and every stage and phase has several tasks and objectives. And in this particular model, every stage input after completion, it produces some output, and that output will become the input of the second stage. So this in this way it follows linear and sequential step by step. It will move to the next stage, and the input of the output of one stage will become the input of the next stage. See, as I told you, it is divided into phases, and output of one phase become the input of the next phase. So it is very necessary for all of us to complete one stage, then we can move to the next stage. As I told you, it is a sequential model, so it is an example of sequential model. Sequential, by the name suggests, it follows a specific sequence. So in this particular model, we have 7 stages. And what are that? First one is requirement analysis. Second one is system analysis. Third one is system design. Fourth one is coding. Fifth one is testing. Sixth one is either you can say deployment, implementation or operation, and seventh one is maintenance. So in this session we will talk about all the 7 layers, how it will work and how they help us to develop the software. So let's start with the first layer, that is our requirement analysis. As the name suggests, requirement means something which needed by us or by our customer. As you see, there are number of softwares we see every day. So softwares were developed according to the customer requirement. So in this particular stage, first we analysis what are the requirements of the customer. Then we will capture all the requirements, whatever the requirements they have, the login information, the database information, some validations, actions, and then all the potential requirements, the deadlines, the guidelines, what are the projects, how you will analyze, and what are the things you have to put as a functional basis. Means you have to check on which date you have started the project, on which date it will complete. According to the things, you will analysis about the feasibility study as well. Means it is operationally useful for development or not, it is testable or not. Means if you are developing something, if you are going to develop something, you have to first analyze that it will useful for the people who will use this or not. So we will do all the requirements analysis at this stage. So this is our first stage. The output of this stage will become the input of the next stage. So we have analyzes what are the requirements of the customer and what are the start and deadlines, what are functional components. Then we will analyze about the system. If we are developing any system, what are the specifications we need, how to generate that particular product model, business logic, how will guide all the productions, what are the financial and technical perspective for this. Means if you are developing any software, if you are investing 1,000 on that, so you will get 1,000 back or not. So according to the functional purpose as well as for the technical purpose, if you are developing any software using Python as a language, so is it easily understandable by user or not. So it will check for all the feasibility as well. Now your second stage is complete. Now the third stage is designing. When you have analysis all the things, what requirements you have analyzed about the system. Now your step is to design how your software will look, what is the design phase for that. So now the third stages are designing. According to the requirements, you have to design what are the requirements of the customer, like means how you will log in, how it will display picture, what are the components will be there. So it will capture all the hardware as well as software requirements, and then it will design all the documents according to that. If I am developing any app, then I will check what are the pages it will display, what are the sections it will have, how user will log in. Or if I will develop any website, so I will check all the designs, I will develop all the design. Once my designing part is completed, means my third stage is completed, I'll go to the next stage where I have to put the logics, how I have to design code. So I will use some language. That language can be C, C++, it can be Python, it can be Java, someone will use .NET. So we will according to the user requirement and according to the developer choice, it will work on some language, and that language will be in the coding section that will code, and then your designing part, actual interface will be developed by that code. Then you have to test all the codes so that it will not show any error. If the error will be there, your software will not be fully functional. So we will check unit testing. Unit testing means we are checking the individual components for our page, means the individual code. After this coding part, that is the most important stage, that is our testing stage, system testing. It integrates the whole test code and make sure that it is work according to your expectation. It will perform all the testing activities according to functional, non-functional, how your system is meeting the requirement. See, if you have expectation, like if you are adding two numbers, or so it will give the correct result. If you are expecting that, it will automatically calculate all the results for the customer. But according to your expectation, it is not giving the result. Means there is some functional coding issue, or is there something else which you have missed. So you have to check that again and report it, and then you have to test again, because when you have to implement this software, you have to be check that it is fully functional. So once your testing part will complete, means you have checked all the things, then you will move to the next stage, that is our deployment, or either implementation or either operation, you can say anything. So your fully functional software is developed, and now it is deployed to the live environment where people are using that particular software, either on the website or on the apps. Once it is deployed, now you have to provide the maintenance. Without maintenance, any software will not work, because according to the environment, according to the operating system it is running, you have to check it will adapt according to the environment. If user is facing any error, any defect, then you have to fix that issues. You have seen every day we are using number of apps in our phones, like the Paytm, WhatsApp, Instagram, Big Basket, Amazon, Flipkart, and every software company or every organization that providing you the updates on the Play Store, we are getting notifications for the updates, because they are changing things according to the environment. If there will be any festival, there will be sale for the different shopping sites, so they update things, and that updated and that latest features will be built in our software. So that is our maintenance phase, and maintenance is very important for any software. Without maintenance, you cannot implement the software in a proper manner. So let's recap all the stages. First one is requirement analysis, second one is system analysis, third one is system design, fourth one is coding, fifth one is testing, sixth one is deployment, either you can say implementation or operation, and seventh one is system maintenance. Now the question arises, when we will use this model? So the answer for this is very easy. When you have stable requirements, means your requirements are not changing frequently, means you have a fixed requirements that you have to develop only this and it will perform only this operation, then you can use waterfall model. When your application, your software size is small, and when you have the resources are well trained, the people who are developing the software should be well trained, so then only you can use waterfall model. So now there are few advantages for this model, as it easy to understand, because they have 7 stages. So, and the stages are very simple. First one is analysis, then system analysis, then coding, testing, then deployment, maintenance. So it is useful for small projects. And in this, entry and exits are well defined. The requirement analysis is your entry and maintenance is your exit point. So it follows a systematic approach. It doesn't mean like from the requirement analysis you can directly come to the maintenance stage. And results are well documented, because on every stage we are writing the things, what operations they have performed. See, everything whatever we have, they have certain advantages as well as certain disadvantages. So we have already talked about the advantages. Now we will come to the disadvantages. First one, it cannot adopt the changes according to the requirements. Reading, basically it means it is not dynamic, like you have certain things in mind that it will change. Like on the first day, if the customer is saying I need this component, and on the 14th day he needs something else, so it is not possible to change all the things. Second thing, in this particular model it is not possible to go back to the previous stage. Like if you have any error at the coding stage, it is not possible for me to go back to the design to change some design and then I will code. I have to go to the requirement analysis again, and then I have to follow the same cycle again, then I can come back to the coding. So it is very time consuming as well. And documentation is also disadvantage. Reason, every time at every stage you have to document again and again. Like you have getting error, then you have to document again. So it is very time consuming. And the delivery means when you will get the final product, it is also very timing, because you can't predict in between what result you will get, because you have to complete all the 7 stages. So then only you can get your final product. For big and complex project, it is not very good. as because the risk factor is high, if there will be any error, so it will make your project deadline later. So that is not possible. And requirements not changes frequently. For usually large product, we have the requirements changes frequently, and it will not useful for long and ongoing projects. So in this session we have talked about waterfall model. So let's recap. So waterfall model is a linear and sequential model of SDLC. It was the first model of software industry, developed by Royce and Bohem in 1970. The input of one phase, after completion, the output of one phase will become the input of the second phase. There are 7 stages, and that stages are requirement analysis, system analysis, design, coding, testing, deployment, and maintenance. I hope this concept is clear to all of you.